And since you're going to be at the Combine, Bobby, with your show, I wanted to go ahead and throw this out there and get your thoughts, get all of y'all's thoughts. What do you feel like are the most overhyped and then probably undervalued aspects of the NFL Combine? Because obviously over the years you've seen fewer people attend, you have seen fewer people do all of the drills and everything like that. But is it still the interviews that are at the top of the list of importance for this?
Yeah, I think medical interviews. Like, here's the thing. So this came up a little bit last week when James Pierce got in trouble. James Pierce, the edge rusher who was from Tennessee and ended up going to the Atlanta Falcons in the first round last year. James Pierce was a flag for teams last year, a character concern guy. And I don't want to ever pigeonhole anyone, but I did just ask the question, and I'll ask you guys this. When was the last time you remember hearing about character concerns with a player and they didn't have some sort of problems in the NFL? To varying degrees. Some are super serious.
Well, how things go for him.
He didn't get on the field. That's part of the problem.
Not great.
Some of them are really serious. Kelvin Joseph being tied to the shooting death of somebody potentially is really serious.
Yeah.
Others are not as serious. George Pickens is a little late sometimes. He's got some time blindness, all right? He has trouble just being punctual. But regardless, like I said, varying degrees of there's issues, right?
Yeah.
Is that I think that this is such a valuable time that when teams determine your name's in red on the board, that matters because the hit rate is pretty. What's the biggest? Honey Badger?
Yeah.
Last player who had a reputation coming into the league that didn't carry over to some extent.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, otherwise, again, it's even if it's a small thing, it usually. Jaden Blue last year was red flagged by some teams. Jaden Blue got here and they were like, okay, he's got to learn how to be a pro a little bit.
Yeah.
It pops up in some regard. Again, some more serious than others, but I would say that is still an underrated part because I think a lot of times people, when they hear about a red flag player, they're like, I don't care, give me a football player. Or he'll grow up. Yep, but he'll grow up on your watch. Usually red flags do not get better with, hey, here's millions of dollars. Come walk into a professional, strict setting.
So it's a team-by-team thing. It's a red flag by red flag thing because there's probably some teams who are like, fine, slide them down around.
Some teams will red flag players that other people will not.
Okay.
There was...
the Cowboys don't red flag injury guys in the second round.
That is...
A lot of times those...
They didn't.
So for a lot of teams, red if you're character, blue if you're medical, purple if you're both. And so... Ooh. Quinshon Judkins last year, for instance, had a red flag for some teams because they heard certain things coming out of college programs that they didn't like. Other teams, like Dallas, investigated it and said, we think that's bitter employee or bitter people on staff who were upset with Quinshon Judkins back in Mississippi. Like that's something separate. We don't think that that's the issue that other people think it is. So he is not a red name on our board. So it's a fact-finding mission. Some teams, it's not universal. Not everybody will have a player in red, but there will be plenty of them.
Here's three names, Kevin. Laramie Tunsil's gas mask situation.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of late redlining, I think, for people.
Lyle Collins, who was not found...
Yeah, and the Lyle Collins thing is always kind of dicey because when you hear part of a murder investigation.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and then you're just like, well, they used to date, so we just needed to talk to him. And he was like, we haven't talked in forever.
The news just broke at the wrong time.
Absolutely.
And Shador was another name.
Do you want some breaking news, by the way?
Oh.
From the NFL?
Let's do it.
Relevant to the Cowboys, Jeff McClain reporting that Lane Johnson has said he's officially returning for a 14th season after contemplating retirement.
He's had a lovely career, retire. But I guess he is not. All right, so that's tough news for the rest of the NFL, especially the Cowboys. All right, so the interviews and the medicals.
Still underrated.
Okay. But what about some of the drills? Because you've seen, especially I know quarterbacks get the most attention is this person's not going to throw until their pro day, on and on and on. Are there any particular, maybe it's just throwing for the quarterbacks or any other drills that you're like, meh?
Do you need to see throwing or can you see that in the game? That's what really matters to me
you can
the
see
most.
that in the game. I think, and a lot of times you see it during practices. it's not necessarily like a big thing. It's more just, all right, can everybody stand here and just see how live the arm looks in person?
And they also, like, with the Senior Bowl, I know everybody went nuts about how Baker commanded the field as soon as he walked out.
That was huge to them because they said, I remember Trayvon Merrick years ago was working out at his TCU Pro Day, and his back was tight. And he went out there and he ran anyway. And he didn't run a great time. He ran okay. But I remember I was talking to a scout from another team, not from Dallas, and I was saying, like, so when somebody chooses not to run, or, you know, does that bug you guys when somebody runs a bad time? And he goes, look, we try to communicate to these players, we're not here to F you, okay? If your back hurts and you don't run a great time, like, we got the context. Your back was... We know it. We know, all right, he ran it. We like seeing that you came out here and you wanted to compete. Like, we just, it tells me something about you that, all right, you still want to come out here. You weren't going to put up your best time, but you wanted to show something. And so we like that. And in other instances, I don't think the way he described it was like, we're not going to ding you if you choose not to run. We get it. But you might get a little bit of a boost if you decided to compete. Mm-hmm. That was sort of the thing with Baker. And I think for some guys at the Combine, you're going to come out here and you throw. We're not going to ding you if you don't throw. You come out here and throw. We like it. You wanted to show out here and you wanted to be a little bit of a competitor. That's maybe some extra credit on your grade. So we're not going to ding other people, but we'll give you a little bit extra because you wanted to come out here and compete.
The 40 times, I think everybody goes nuts about them because we all want to see if a dude runs a 4.1. Like,
right.
That's just what we want to see. How valuable is that 4.1? Because we talk about that straight line speed versus all these other things.
And then how valuable is it at some non-speed positions?
For sure.
So a lot of times,
shuttle's more important for
Yes.
like defensive linemen and stuff.
a lot of times what you see then is teams look at 10-yard splits. So you running the 40, they want to see, all right, is the 10-yard split faster than most guys? So how explosive are you right out of the block? They want to see, all right, did you run a slow front half of the 40 and you still ran a 4.4? Okay, so you're somebody who maybe has some deceptive speed, or they get ahead of steam going and you're still a vertical threat, but maybe you don't like explode off the line of scrimmage. So that's why they keep the 3 times that they do, 10, 20, and 40-yard splits. Still, it doesn't always matter. So I'm trying to remember. Des Bryant, for instance, ran a 4.52.
Wow.
I think when he ran, he was a 4.52. His 10-yard split, though, I think when he ran it at Oklahoma State was like 1.48, which is fast.
Yeah.
That's a fat. So that shows, like, okay, at 6'2", 225, you're explosive. Like, you come off the ball really explosive. Are you a track star down the field? Not really, but you're explosive. Then you look at other guys. Puka Nacua ran a 10-yard split that was 1.62. That's not very fast. He ran a.
Is that why you thought he didn't get onto Broadus's board?
Yes, that's exactly why. He was, that, and I think Broadus just is not a big fan of BYU, probably, is what it is. But he ran a 4.57, which, again, you're 200 pounds. Why are you running 4.57? But he ran the gauntlet drill, that receiver gauntlet drill that they do, and his player tracking data there said that he was the fastest receiver running through the gauntlet.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, he may look 4.57 just running in a track meet, but he's different when he's playing the position. Like, he moves differently. And a lot of these teams now probably look at some of this as overrated because they have tracking data from college or just various things. A lot of GPS tracking that tells them how fast they play.
So obviously, Corey, you brought up the defensive linemen when it comes to the 3-cone drill. I was looking at something that I have to admit I didn't really think about this that much. That the broad jump.
Broad jump's the most important thing out there.
And there's some great tacklers, running backs, and linemen who have elite broad jump scores.
Broad jump, vertical. Like, they feel like they're seeing an explosive athlete.
Okay.
So somebody who
got the legs and thighs to be able to pull
basically,
it off.
Nice butt.
Yeah, you're super explosive. Sure. The 3-cone can help. Now, the 3-cone historically, if you're an edge rusher and you're like 7'3" or lower on a 3-cone, that's not good. You generally, it doesn't mean if you run a 6'8" that you're going to be super good at the next level.
Right.
But it does mean that if you're running a slower 3-cone, it does give some question about, right, how flexible are you? How much is your bend going to be a factor in this if you're not very quick going through some of those turns? So it helps. I think 3-cone helps. But, yeah, I think when you combine all of it together, 3-cone, vertical, broad jump, you see some of those things. It shows some explosiveness as athletes that helps a great deal.
And then the short shuttle?
So the short shuttle is one that matters, I think, for people. The shuttles are one of the ones that I think are lower down the list for a lot of people. The bench has become complicated in recent years because of the way the schedule has been. It became a big topic of guys who just, all right, if I'm benching, I'm not running. Or if I'm running today, I'm not benching.
Okay.
A lot of athletic trainers, a lot of these pre-draft facilities started encouraging players, if you are running, if this is the time slate they got you on, that you're doing or whatever, and you're running that day, and running is more important, do not bench. You'll bench at your pro day. You're not benching here. And so, because the bench is the bench, and you can do that at your pro day, that you're not worried about cooked clocks or anything else. This is just the way that it is. But do not do the bench press, because they showed that doing the bench press and then running in the same day, like it was not good for them usually, especially if the 40 was after that.